Okay, so now we're gonna make the the grease cream. Now, grease cream is also called American buttercream, which is why I keep slipping when I say that. And um, basically, the most basic grease cream is what we're making. It's basically just powdered sugar and shortening. And what this does is, unlike the other buttercreams, since they have actual butter in them, they melt when butter melts, and so they get soft and squishy. So they're not, ideal for high temperatures, but because they're made with butter, they also taste really good and have a really nice melt in your mouth mouthfeel. This, on the other hand, is great for working at high temperatures, good for decorations because it stays nice and soft, and but it has a really greasy mouthfeel. Your shortening doesn't melt at body temperature. If you've ever worked with shortening at all, then you know when you wash dishes, you gotta use like the hottest water you can and soap just to get that greasy feeling gone. And that's kind of what's going on in your mouth, is that your body isn't hot enough to melt the shortening, so you have this greasy film in your mouth and in your body. And so I try not to use it at all if I can. For recipes like this, where we're only going to use it for like a little garnish decoration, very little, we're not icing with it or anything like that, then I'm okay with it because it's a quick, easy icing. And it's important to know that this icing exists because you can't just keep using Italian buttercream, especially if you're only going to pipe something simple as grass. Or if you're really low on ingredients and time, then yeah, go ahead and make the grease cream. Just know that it's not going to taste as good as the other buttercreams. So go ahead and sift your 9.5 ounces of powdered sugar into your bowl. Okay. And go ahead and add your 4 ounces of shortening. You can use whatever shortening you want. If you use a white shortening, it won't have as a nice flavor, but it'll have a nice white color. Okay, we're going to add just a touch of vanilla extract for flavor and moisture. And then for some color, I'm going to add some moss green food coloring. I want a nice dark green color. This is the kind I'm using. It is a Wilton brand. Alright, let's go ahead and bring this over to the mixer and see what we get with, or what color we get. Now if it's looking a little dry, go ahead and add a tablespoon of water to help moisten it up. Okay, it's scraped on the sides to make sure all of the powdered sugar and coloring is all mixed in so we don't have any weird pockets. It's got a nice color, but it's still a little too pasty to use, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it. I'm going to put it into the bag that I'm going to use it with the tip already in it. I'm going to use what is called a grass tip. It's a small grass tip. And a grass tip, let's see, kind of has this weird, almost, I don't know, cheese grate-like opening. It's good for piping like lion's manes as well, stalks of grass, obviously, weeds. It's a little on the stiff side, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more water, beat it up, and then I'm going to put it back in the bag. Okay, so now I've already taken some tempered chocolate and I've brushed it along the sides of the edge of the cake, and I've also piped the lettering on the tombstones and the faces on the ghosts and the pumpkins. And so that's all we really need to do to start decorating, because we don't want to put the fence on before we decorate it, because then we won't be able to maneuver it, and the chocolate can be really delicate and we don't want to break it. So why don't we go ahead and start decorating it with what we have. So first, why don't we go ahead and cut a slit. Let's see if that's big enough. Not even close. I might even have to cut the brownie out. Now if you've got a cake, obviously it'll be softer, so you don't have to worry about cutting out so much. There we go. Just press it into the ground like that. Now I do want to show you, if you can see, it might be a little blurry, that the chocolate I actually used to pipe these letters and stuff like that, and the faces, wasn't actually tempered. I thought it was, but it wasn't. If you can see, there's like speckles of light colors on it, and to make it go away, I can just rub it and, you know, kind of polish it or whatever. It'll still have a very matte finish, but it wasn't tempered. It was a chocolate I was unfamiliar working with, so I do kind of take blame for that. But just so you know what it looks like. We need to use, this is okay to use untempered chocolate. It's fine, it'll be gone in a minute anyway. But we have to use tempered chocolate on the sides of the cake and to when we pipe the fence, because it's gotta be sturdy. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and finish putting up the tombstones. So now we can take some of our royal icing, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue down the skulls where we want them. So here is one of our fondant skulls. Alright, let's go ahead and put some glue. Stick them right down. Same thing with our pumpkins. Okay, I also have these edible, they're called beach pebbles. Sometimes you can find jelly beans that you can use. And they're just like fun little rocks. I'm going to put like a couple of the dark ones around as decoration. And these rocks are actually, they're made out of chocolate. So they're almost like M&Ms really. Now I can also take my grass tip and pipe some grass. And I'm going to put just one ghost on here since they're kind of big. A little overwhelming, really. Let's see if I can put them back in the back. There we go. It's a little bit bigger than I thought he'd be, so you can even see him in the camera. Okay, so I went ahead and let the bones dry for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So nice and dry and ready to use. So all you gotta do is just pick them up and you can place them wherever you want. Oops. And of course, you can glue them into place. with a little bit of royal icing. Now for a fun effect, what we can do is we can tear up the brownie right around here. And then glue them together, and then you have like a little 3D effect. Then what you can do is type a little bone hand, and you have a little 3D bone coming out of a grave kind of effect. Can't remember if I mentioned this, but make sure that you're using an offset spatula to take off your bones, so that way you don't break them, because they are royal icing and they are delicate. I've also piped some little feet. Try and give this a try. Broke his bony toe, but it still came out alright. So now we have a little weird foot thing going on. And then for a rib cage, let's see, first thing you want to do is pop off all the ribs. Draw a straight line with your icing. And then stick your ribs in and form the rib cage. Remember that you want to use a stiffer icing, a royal icing at this point, so that way you don't have it very runny, and that way it sticks right away. Alright, so I'm going to put the rest of the bones on, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with tempered chocolate again to make the outside fence.